Welcome to Raw Dog Gaming. This is the Raw Dog speaking, and this time I'm bringing you another Raw review. This is the Raw review of King Arthur's The Ninth Legion. So this is kind of like a sequel, kind of like a side story of the King Arthur series. Oh, and obviously you can see that this does not have a raw impression. And that's because I was playing this game and I was going through it, and I was thinking about what I was doing for my raw impression and when I was going to record it, and suddenly I realized I was already 50% through the game. So, first of all, this game is short, a lot shorter than the other one. And, yeah. I figured, just go ahead and continue at this pace because 50% in is kind of not a good time for me doing a raw impression. It's kind of already in the review territory. So, I just kind of continued at my pace and decided to just push forward and get a review instead of doing the raw impression. So anyway, to continue, yes, this game is awesome. I love this game. As you know from the King Arthur's game, the Knight's Tale game, I love these kinds of games. I love grid-based tactical games. Welcome to the Grid. The grids are my favorite kind of game, pretty much. I love grid-based tactical games. They are my favorite kind of games, besides like RPGs, I guess. But I mean, like, I don't know. I can't really say which one's my favorite. I would say that probably grid-based Fox is my favorite kind of game. Anyway, to get back on track here, the game is awesome. I love it. Although I will say this, I liked Knight's Tale better in every way. I would say it's definitely not as good as Knight's Tale. Knight's Tale is a much better game. It's awkward because this is the sequel, or at least it's made as a sequel. Or so at least it's the second game in the series. It's not 100% a sequel. Not really entirely sure where it is in the timeline, honestly. I'm pretty sure it ends after their Knight's Tale, but I'm not sure if it begins after a Knight's Tale or if it begins somewhere in the middle. But or it begins even before it. So yeah, it's weird. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is the game is good, but it's not as good as Knight's Tale, and here's why. Knight's Tale was a strong game. It had strong parts in it. It was also a very limited game. It was very like old school Fire Emblem. Like, if characters die, characters die. These are your choices. You have to live with them. You have to make them. You have to be very careful in your decisions in combat. It was good like that. I really like that. I like being tactical, in the grid and having to be very serious about my position, very careful about what I do and where I place people. And I'm usually a very defensive player in those kind of games, which is one of the reasons these games take longer for me, is because I'm very defensive. I like to build my strategies, I like to make the enemy come to me and then entrap them around my forces. I'm very defensive. Ninth Legion is not like that at all. Ninth Legion, characters don't die, because you're all like demon zombie things. I'm not really sure what to say, because you're more like ghouls and zombies than demons, but there is the demonic path you can take, so they're kind of like demons. Anyway, because you're like that, you're undying. And the game takes that literally. If you fall in combat, you will actually just get back up at the end of the encounter. So your characters don't die. Period. They don't die. Even if they were to die, even if the main character was about to die, unless your entire party gets wiped out, you don't lose the game. You don't lose the encounter, because as long as one of them survives, then the encounter can finish, and then all the other ones just get back up. Granted, they get up with 1 HP. But they still get back up, and I mean, if you have potions, 1 HP isn't a problem. You just take a potion and they're all set. So, and then to continue that problem, you also only get 5 party members, period, ever in the entire game. Now, you get, there's a guest here and there that comes, that in some missions, you can recruit this guest in this mission, things like that. But you never have... But your actual party never goes higher than 5, and once you get the 5, you pretty much have them throughout the entire game, except for the 2, like the girl. Their names are weird. Albina, yeah, Albina. She leaves in some missions, and Nerva, I think his name is Nerva. He leaves in some missions. They kind of trade off back and forth, and pretty much the game is just pretty much which one do you decide to align with. Do you align with Albina, or Nerva, and that's basically which ending you get, and or basically the demonic path or the human path. And anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is you have these characters, and they all level up at the end of every fight. and no matter if they're in the fight with you or not, and they all can't die. So the game is just a lot easier because of that, because like there's no stress of which characters to take with you, which characters you're going to prioritize in your party, which characters you're going to be very careful about not letting die, because they will die forever. There's also like when you go into a fight, you don't really have to be as careful, because if they do die, they'll just come back at the end of the fight. Like the game allows you to be a lot less careful, and because of that, I was able to blitz the game because I wasn't worried about things anymore. Like I just blitzed through because I was like, oh, this character's gonna come back, doesn't matter, and I just blitzed through. Even then, like, I wouldn't say that I lost characters. I had one character die one time, and that was it. And it's just like, it didn't matter, because they got back up, like I said, at the end of the counter. And I did it because it was easier for me to send them out to attack that guy and have them die than, like, to risk losing the entire counter. So it's really silly. Like, the game is good, but it's not as good as Knight's Tale because it's not as structured. So I really enjoyed the game, but if I was going to recommend one or the other, I'd recommend Knight's Tale a million times over, because the story is more interesting in Knight's Tale. There's tons more characters to choose from. The paths you can take on are a lot more varying, and the gameplay is a lot more structured, a lot more interesting, because there's a lot more things you have to worry about and figure out. It just it does not feel, because there's less constraints, and because it's a lot freer, it actually feels a lot easier. It's weird. It's hard to explain, because you would think that the game should be saying, oh, people can't really die. It'd be like, oh, the game, it's a whole freedom, it's a whole relief to you, but it's too much of a relief, because then you don't have to plan. If they just like came back at the end of the mission, it'd even be better, because like, or if they came back a mission later or something, they had to be like, you know, retired for a mission because you lost them in combat, their body had to like recuperate to come back, like a real zombie or something. Like it took time for them to heal themselves to come back to you. Even that would be better, because then they would still have more thought behind it. But no, the fact that they come back right after the encounter is just like, it feels like your moves have no consequences, and it definitely feels like it's weaker in that sense. But the game is still good. Don't get me wrong, the game is still good, it's a lot of fun, I really enjoyed it, but it definitely is a weaker game in comparison. And I would actually go as far as to say that, because the way the game feels and how long it is, also that's a factor. The game is, let's see, you start at level 5, and you get to level 18 before the end game. That's 13, there's 13 missions, because you level up for every mission. So there's 13 missions in the game, period. And then you're at endgame, and endgame is just endgame. It's just more challenges and more fights. You don't level up anymore. It's just more fights. There's no more story to it. There's just more fights. So it's fun and all, but like I said, there's 13 missions. The game, you can't die. The game is just very fast. It feels more like an expansion on Knight's Tale rather than a sequel to it, and it definitely feels like a side story. It doesn't feel like a complete game. It feels like an expansion, which is weird because it's not an expansion. Or at least in the PS5 version, or PS5 version, it's definitely sold as and marketed as a separate game. But it doesn't feel like a separate game. It feels like an expansion. But anyway, the game is still good. So I would still recommend it if you're a fan of King Arthur's Tales. If you're actually a fan of Greek mythology, actually, because it's got a lot more to do with Greek mythology because it has the Romans in it. But well, not more, but yeah. But if you're a fan of that, if you're a fan of the first game, definitely I'd recommend it. If you're a fan of grid-based combat and like tactical strategy, grid-based combat, I'd recommend it. It's a good game, but I would definitely say play Knight's Tale first, or definitely play it after if you're playing the Ninth Legion first. But definitely play Knight's Tale, because Knight's Tale is a better game by far in every way. So yeah, the game is really good, and we're gonna wrap that up. So you know what we say here. This is the Raw Dog, and I'm bringing you raw entertainment. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your worst enemies to like and subscribe to the Raw Dog Gaming. See ya.